Good afternoon, Sally.
Hi, Mariana. It's so
Sally,
nice to be with you this time.
and I'm really excited because I've never actually met you or spoken to you before today, and you're joining us from I'm going to ask you to say it because you'll say it so much nicer than I can. Whereabouts are you?
I'm joining you from Santiago, Chile. And this is a place where I was born and where I have lived all my life, except for 6 years in which I was ambassador from Chile to Israel.
Fabulous. Yeah, in England we always say Chile, and it doesn't sound as nice as Chile. So that's why I was asking you to say it. Sally, you're very welcome, and I'm really delighted that you approached me in the group to talk about your book. I know you've got it right in front of you. So do you want to show us, tell us about the title and the name? Oh no, it's back in the other room.
It's back in the other room, or I might have it here. Oh, shall I? I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm gonna pause and
okay.
Yay! So here's your book.
Here's my book.
And I was just talking to you before we started recording about the group being full of coaches rather than necessarily coaching clients. So tell me about your book.
About the book?
Yeah.
The book is full of stories and tools and tips and a method that I created that stems from my long experience in coaching. And that method, which is my particular method, is intended to align presence, emotions, and language.
I'm so intrigued by that because everybody that I've been talking to lately, and when you really look at the ICF competencies, it's all about unpacking use of language and the importance of language. And I found this recently. I was working with a client and I was questioning him around some of the language that he used, and he was really not aware of it. And yet some of the words that he was saying sounded, well, when he was talking about a particular relationship of his, it sounded almost parental rather than a kind of manager, team member kind of relationship. And it was kind of giving clues to me as a coach about what else might be going on there. So tell me a bit more about your alignment of presence and emotion and language.
Yes. Well, my practice comes from a narrative that deals with the particular aspect of human language, which is creative and living in a world of interpretations. Nevertheless, we don't only have conversations in language. Simultaneously, we are always held by an emotion. And the emotion expresses itself in our physiology and our physical presence. And so,
is that what? May I just ask a question about that? So, do you mean when you say that we might say something, but actually everything else is giving off a different message?
Absolutely, and you can find it. Imagine if I was saying, Mariana, I'm so delighted to be here. You cannot imagine. What would you hear?
Exactly. I work with horses in my coaching, and that's one of the key things to working with horses, that they can kind of pick up on the incongruence.
Exactly. That's one of the fantastic aspects of coaching with horses, because they work with the alignment, and there is a certain pattern. What I've discovered in my practice is that there is a pattern, as a sequence. You first see the body, then from the body, you can identify an emotional state, and then you check with what is being said, and you discover if you will trust the person or not, whether that person is saying the truth or not. His or her truth, I mean.
Yeah. And do you think there are different patterns in different parts of the world or different cultures, or do you think it's fairly universal?
There are different patterns, but they're known. So the phenomenon is exactly the same. The language phenomenon and the alignment phenomenon is exactly the same. Now, of course, if I do like this in Japanese, I'm saying yes and not no, but you need to know that. So, and it's not so difficult. I mean, we are not that different culturally.
No, absolutely. I know that you've got a name for this particular piece of your work. Can you tell us about that and tell us more about the actual process? That I know
Yeah,
that you've got loads more to tell us, Sally, so we'll have to meet you again so you can tell us other stuff.
yeah. I'll tell it to you very briefly. I wanted to talk about body, emotional state, and language as needing alignment, and also being one a resource for the other. And look at my hand, how I move it, because it's a dance among the three. But I couldn't use that one because I wanted to have a domain, and I also needed the name, the abbreviation to be the same in Spanish and in English.
Oh,
And so instead of body, I decided to name it presence. And I was so happy that I found presence, because you see how a breakdown can provide an opportunity. I think presence is much more adequate than body.
yeah.
Because your presence is your body, is what your physiology is showing, and also how you have your every part of your body. But it's also the presence and what you radiate physically.
Exactly. The energy that you
Exactly, the
present.
physical energy is shown with presence. So presence is a much better name. So presence is for presence or body, E for emotions, and L for language, and so it's PEL, and plus MET, which is method. So it's called PELMET, PELMET method.
Very, very, yeah, I like that. I like the emphasis on presence as well, as opposed to body, because there's all sorts of other things going on when you talk about body language and body, and there's different insinuations and things that are, yeah. Sally, I will put the details of your book in the comments underneath this. But you were saying that people could, if they're interested in finding out more, and I know that you have a blueprint about this, that there's a place on your website they might download it. Is that right?
Yes, I have a website for this book, which is called www.thenovelentrepreneur.com. And in that website, they will find a nice video, and they will find a chapter, and they will find a blueprint for that method. Now, the blueprint is a blueprint. It's something you need to have and to check once you studied and learned the method. Because the idea of this method is it's rigorous steps that you need to do them one by one, and that you need to do exactly what it stated and nothing else. You need to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it for 66 days until it becomes a habit. If it becomes a habit,
66?
Because I learned from a master of mine, Robin Sharma, who learned it from some people who made a research in a university in Great Britain, and they realized that a habit needs at least 66 days to embed itself.
I certainly think that 28 days thing is nonsense, because it's 66 is much more realistic.
Yeah, it's more realistic, I think. So if you really would like to do that, you always have the opportunity. You will see, if you see the book, you will have the opportunity of needing that alignment, because you're feeling something in your body. If you feel something different, if you see that what I call the transparency of a conversation or anything is broken by as small as it is, but a little bodily change, then you start working on the method without stopping the conversation.
I can see how this would be really important for coaches, because those really tiny shifts in energy, that very subtle bits of body language. Like I was saying to somebody the other day, that I noticed that I do this quite often. There's a movement that I do, and there's a few things that you can pick up on in coaches and things that kind of just show, well, either this conversation's over, or you can just see that something has shifted.
That's right.
It's fascinating stuff.
It's so very important for coaches to detect bodily changes, because they are going to detect them in the clients before their own clients do. And you will see that in a story that I tell about one of my clients.
Sally, before we go, is there any kind of one first step that you could encourage people to do to help them tune into this work?
Well, the only thing is being motivated to learn about all the many aspects that are involved in coordinating, in aligning your body, your emotions, and your language. And when we're talking about language, we are already talking about our relationship with other people. And so if you want to learn about yourself and you want to learn about how to have excellent conversations, how to state your objectives so that you will go where you want to go, then this is a book to read. And I think it's fun read, and it can be used as a text later on.
I can imagine it's a great fun read, Sally, because talking to you has been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to hit pause now on the record, but please just stay with me for a minute or two more.